I'm using a golf ball, which is a little bit more intense than a tennis ball, but should be okay if that's all you have for today's purposes. We're going to start fairly logically. We're going to start on the ground, work our way up. So most of this is actually going to be lower body. Just a little bit about the foam roller. There are different intensities. This green one is about a mid intensity. It has these, this is a, oh, I can't remember the brand. But anyways, it has these little sort of bumps in it to assist with rolling. If you just have a flat foam roller, that's fine as well. So we're going to start on the ground. If you have a long one, if you have, sort of this mid-range one, both will work. I'll show you how you can effectively use both. So starting with calves, we like to start with the area of most comfortable to least comfort. So for myself, the gastrocnemius, which is at the top, is going to be a little bit more comfortable to start from. On these mid-range ones, you can use, you can get both legs on there at one time. If, it's too much, you can just do one at a time. And I'll sort of demo both. I'll actually start with one at a time here. So what I would do is I would lift my body up using my arms, have my leg bent, and I can sort of roll back and forth. So I don't immediately just roll all the way down. I roll towards my ankle a little bit, and then I go forward again, and then towards my ankle more, and then forward. It's like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back situation. And then you can do that with 2 as well, right? So you have to lift yourself up a little bit. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Right, and I work my way down because muscle fibers don't just roll or don't run in just one direction, right? So we have to move through in both directions or multi-directions to get that most effective. And we don't do these for longer than 90 seconds. You can even change the angle on these things as well, right? And we'll do this more with the quad, but you can get more of the inside of that gastro. And again, this is targeting or going against the way that some of these muscle fibers run. We'll switch sides here. We'll go to the inside here. Yeah, I don't spend too long going on the insides because most, like, this isn't too bad for myself. Yeah, remember that 2 steps forward, 1 step back sort of rule there. On shorter areas like this, it can be a little bit more difficult to do, so if you have trouble with it, just don't worry about it so much. And then if you wanted to hit the outside, what I would do is I would just stay seated and I would cross my leg, almost going into a hip stretch. And you can just sort of go back and forth from here. And again, you're going to be stretching that hip as well throughout this. So the first part of the calves you had probably seen before. And these 2 are just, I wouldn't say they're common at all, but I just like to do them because I find I can target some areas that I don't hit when I just do the first way or where I stretch normally. Like these are, I find these 2 really attack the heads of the gastrocnemius there. So we're going to move on to hamstrings. With our hamstrings, it's the same thing. I should go to the side here. I'm going to start in an area of most comfort and move to the least comfort. And it's the same where I am lifting myself up a little bit. And then I just 2 steps forward, 1 step back as I roll closer towards my glutes. And I work my way back down towards my knees. And for some people, you may want to start closer to the glutes, right? That might be the area of more comfort for you. And why we start in the area of more comfort to least comfort is because it eases the muscle into it. It's like you wouldn't start running by just breaking into a full sprint, right? You do your warm up, you walk, jog, then sprint. All right, we'll go to our glutes. I'll stay on this angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross our right leg over our left while we sit. I'm actually going to start with left leg over my right so you can sort of, no, I think you can see better on the other way. I got to turn. And then we just roll like so. This can be done with a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, golf ball as well. I just find it more difficult. I have a wide behind, so I like the foam roller to support that. And again, there's not much range of motion on this, so I find it difficult to do 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And then you can sort of turn as you come through and get the outside. I'll show you a little bit more on the other side. We'll do one more here. I cross my left over my right now. And I can sort of turn my torso, right? And that will get more of the outside of the glute. And this should feel like a self-massage, right? And that's essentially what foam rolling is we're trying to knead the fascia around the muscles, the fascia that encapsulates the muscles, to provide a little bit more release, because that can get tight as well. All right, we'll move to our quads. Our quads are very similar to our hamstrings in that we start from the knees, move our way up to the hips, and we just lie on the foam roller. Again, this can be done single leg or 2 leg, and then it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. For me on this one, it's sometimes the area of discomfort is close toward my hips. Sometimes the area is a little bit more close towards the knees. So it's a real gamble where I start. But with these ones, it's easy to practice that 2 step forward, 1 step back. Because you're essentially just sawing your way through, going up and down. We'll do the inner quad. So this one's one where we actually can only do one at a time. I'm going to try to see the best way to demonstrate this to the angle. So how you do this is we're going to lie on our stomach and we're going to bring one leg up so that the inside of the quad is on the foam roller. And then we just roll through that. So we want the foam roller traveling up and down the inner thigh. I just sort of imagine I'm Spider-Man, and that's sort of the, when Spider-Man's climbing a wall, how he gets his leg up to the side there. That's sort of how I imagine. And then I just move my inner thigh and along the And it will be most intense around the knee. So again, we 2 steps forward, 1 step back as we move through that. Motion. And you can do that on the outside as well. I just find that area is a little too sensitive for foam rolling, for myself anyways. So that's where like a white foam roller with no intensity would really help. I'm just gonna try making so that sure you can see that's pretty good angle there. So I go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Again, I want to start up here because that area is quite sensitive. But if I feel like I didn't really hit that area too much, sometimes I'll just move and allow to get that area a little bit more. All right. We move on to our low back now. I think this is probably the most common one I see. All we're going to do is we're going to get our low back on the foam roller. And you can, turn as well to get like individual sides, or you can just be flat. Just sort of moving through this. Again, it's not a big range of motion either. So like if you just want to stay seated here and just push through that range of motion, you can. Apologize by getting a little closer. Right. I prefer for myself to do sides on this one, so I'll show you the right side here. Right, starting a little bit lower. And this is one where we don't want a big intensity foam roller because it's a very tight area for a lot of people. I'll switch sides. Make sure you guys can see. So you can see how I'm sort of gingerly doing this. All right, so we'll go to the lats. And before we continue with that, in mind, if it hurts, just don't do it. It's not supposed to hurt. So for the lats, gotta step back here. And I'm just on my side, and I'll just gently roll through. And then 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Again, this is one where you want a lighter one on, but you can easily just, gently roll along, and it will do the trick still. Make sure I get that arm out of the way so you can see. And some people will get a little, the arm fully outstretched there. Because this foam roller is too intense, that would be too much for my lats. So I would use a gentler foam roller going through. I'll switch sides. Yeah, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The area that's most intense for me is the armpit. So I start, lats don't run all the way down your body, right? They more go to the ribs, so that's where I'm starting. And I want to, get that arm out of the way. I want to end close towards that armpit area. All right. We have our chest next. So we're actually going to be standing for this one. You can do this against the wall. And we're going to be using our golf ball and tennis ball. So I'm just going to get my left arm behind my back. And then I just take the golf ball. And our chest fibers, you know, they run from the shoulder towards the sternum. So we want to go along that way. But I also like to go more in a circle. And for this area, it's tighter for me in the center. So I start from the outside. And I work my way all around. And you could do this against the wall. I get the arm behind the back just to make sure that the chest is in a stretched position, which allows me to easily roll out the fascia. And if there's a particular area I've discovered, I sort of focus on that. Switch sides. And while we're doing this, just moving through it, I'll sort of say the wrong things that you can do during foam rolling, and that's, spending too long on an area, doing it to the point where it hurts. We don't want to again, if you feel pain, you need to lower the intensity or stop. Not going in more than one direction. And that's pretty well it. Using the wrong intensity sort of goes along with the pain as well. And then I guess foam rolling areas that are bony or mostly ligament or that are injured, we don't want to foam roll as well. All right, so our biceps are next. I'm going to stick with the ball as well. You can use the foam roller on the ground similar to the lats. I find, though, the ball is just a nice, compact, easy way, right? I find doing biceps and lats on the ground fairly difficult to foam roll, so I don't do them very often. But if I have like this golf ball that just sits in my desk, I'm more likely to do this, once a day, once every couple days. And again, biceps run from the anterior delt closer towards the elbow, right? Insert at they originate at the shoulder, insert at the elbow. So we want to make sure that we're traveling all the way up, all the way down. I find the intensity of the golf ball in doing this isn't enough for up here, but it is perfect for, down here, over here. And again, I'm moving in multi directions just to break it up a little bit. And we'll switch sides. Yeah, we should probably start in an area of more comfort. I tend to not do that on this one just because I always forget, like, oh, it starts up here. And of course, we're rolling more the anterior delt there. I just sort of go in circles up and down. That just allows me to try to free up that fascia, try to loosen it up a little bit. That area of discomfort where I feel tightness, that's where I'll spend most of my time on. Trying to loosen it up a bit, but again, the fascia encapsulates the whole muscle, so we have to get the full muscle. Yeah, this can be done against the wall as well for increased intensity. I find that this is enough. All right, so our traps are a large triangle on our back. And we're going to get with the upper trap again. This can be done up against the wall. You can do this with the foam roller as well on the ground. But I find, because my traps are so tight, and most people's traps are so tight, because they sit at a desk that is incorrectly set up. My traps are tight from, certain exercises, stress. I switch sides there. Sorry, I should explain what I'm doing. So what I do is I start in between the neck and the shoulder, and then I work my way down amongst the shoulder blade. As far as I can go, really, is all I need. And I just circle that through, and then I make my way towards the front again, where I'm up here. We'll do the other side again. So we'll switch to the other side, and then we'll go back to this side. So I'm going to start in the front. I'm rolling along my sort of neck, top of the shoulder, trap, and then I slowly work my way back, putting pressure on the golf ball in that triangle in the back above the shoulder blade, right? These muscles are very tight, right? So that's why I find doing these free is a lot easier than doing them against a surface. And we'll switch spots, so we'll go the other side again once more. And I can already feel the looseness in my body in those areas that we have foam rolled, but I especially feel it in my traps. Try to go all directions, see what feels good for you. I'm really going against the grain of the muscle by going, or across the grain, I should say. Going forward and back. All right, and then last we just have our foot. We've gone a little bit overtime today, but that's okay. It's something different, something new. For the foot, I just put my golf ball or tennis ball on the ground. I step on it, and I do circles. I go forward and back. I find those areas of discomfort, comfort, move through both of them, spend a little bit more time on the discomfort. And we're not really like stepping on the ball, right? You're like loading, rolling, finding that pressure that's appropriate for you. We don't want to, again, cause pain, right? There's lots of muscles that run underneath the foot, right? So this is a good point of release with the fascia. We'll switch sides. I probably spent a little bit too long on the traps, but it felt okay for me. If it ever starts to feel too much for you, that's when you stop. We don't usually want to spend 60 to 90, more than 90 seconds on a muscle group. Switch sides if you didn't notice, and I'm just sort of circling my way over this golf ball here. Probably doesn't look like much on the video, but if you're doing it, you know how good that feels, how effective it is. Going to get the heel a little bit more, or near that heel area. I should say the heel is kind of a bony area. I just wanted to make sure I hit that back of the foot there. But that is it for today. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, it's probably not coming back for a little bit, so don't worry. But I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful day.